G'day everyone, and welcome to the 2026 budget update that specifically revolves around retirees. A lot of the budget is being spoken about with the tax cuts, wouldn't call them that, and the work offsets that people are going to get doesn't really apply for us because we're retired. So we pay no tax on our retirement income account and we pay no tax in our hand. At least they haven't changed that. So what I want to do is specifically talk around the budget of what it means for you. And that's the most important thing. I think the government's used unfair criticism of trying to repair intergenerational equity. Maybe if they put policies in place that allow people to get ahead, maybe if they don't spend billions of dollars and waste money that causes inflation, that causes interest rates to go up and causes people a great deal of uncertainty, maybe then we'd have the younger generation being able to get ahead. Frame it that it's all your fault because of what you've been able to achieve over all of your working life. I think so. But hey, you're not their voting block, so you don't really mean that much to them. Right, enough about that. Let's go and have a look at what the budget gives you. Alrighty, directly benefits you. PBS medications are going to be cheaper. So, for a lot of us who have actually gotten low-income healthcare cards, it's going to be capped at $7.70 until 2030. So I've always tried to paint getting a senior healthcare card or low-income healthcare card when we're not going to get a pension as some sort of benefit that the government gives you. I've had 2 or 3 of our client group receive letters from the government, G'day Red and Donna, that specifically say you've breached the income generation for the low income healthcare card and you're now losing your card. That comes out by the fact that the government put the deeming rate up of the investments, and in one of our cases over an 8-week period, they had been deemed to earn $300 too much and then lost their card. So they now lose the concessional card and then they'll have to have the max co-payment of $25. There's aged care investments. This is just a mess. Every government that has been in has messed up aged care. It's a mess, and my recommendation is to stay at home for as long as you can. 5,000 additional residential beds per year from Jan 27, $1 billion to subsidise personal care at home through supported home, and $565 million for care quality and oversight. The $1 billion to subsidise personal care at home is money well spent. It is cheaper to keep everyone at home, and it's better for everyone to still stay at home. So that's a good outcome. Support of home price caps. From 1 July, the government will cap at home care prices. Prevents excessive charges for services started under the new program from November 2025. It's got a bit of the NDIS about it, this one. Medicare levy threshold rise. Low income thresholds increased 2.9%. So over 1 million lower income seniors continue to be exempt or pay a reduced levy. That would be also if you're working. Dementia care expansion, $200 million for 20 subspecialist dementia care program units. That's going to be a really big one that's going to impact our demographic hugely over the next 20 years. It's one I keep telling the joke about 2 things I worry about. One's getting dementia and 2's crocodiles. If I have dementia, I won't worry about crocodiles, so take me down the river. Okay, limited benefit for you guys. All right, income tax cuts. If you're doing some part-time work, you'll get it. If you're fully retired, you won't. Means nothing. The $1,000 instant deduction means nothing. The $250 work in Australia's tax offset, nothing. Fuel excise cut, we benefit from that, but it'll be going back on in October. There's a housing infrastructure fund. Potentially has some benefit for you on the basis that the government's investing a couple of $1 billion to assist with more houses getting built. I think that's a good thing. So um, we'll have to wait and see how we go. Undoubtedly, it'll be rorted, just like most government infrastructure funds are. Okay. Inflation. I'll be starting most meetings like I did last year, asking, do you need more money? I know we're not frivolous. I know that. You know that. But geez Louise, things are just getting expensive. Continue to tell you that I rage at the machine of paying $150 for two half-empty bags from Coles and Woolies, and it's just ridiculous. This budget's not going to improve inflation. If anything, it's going to worsen it. But if we're on the pensions indexed to the CPI or OWATI. So since it was 4.6 in March, they go up in May and November, I think, or April and September. So we will have seen an increase in our pension due to inflation getting out of control. The energy supplement remains unchanged, which of course doesn't offset the 25% increase in electricity that we've had this year. Rent assistance increased in prior budgets, but it's not specifically increased in this budget. When everyone's complaining about how expensive renting is and how there's a shortfall, and we're now changing our CGT and our negative gearing aspects to improve the ability for younger people to get into the market, not given an increase in rent where we've seen a dramatic increase, is just abhorrent. But again, it's not your demographic that they're aiming for. Self-funded retirees, no income tax still from your pension still applies, so tax cuts irrelevant. If holding income generating investments outside of super, if we earn over like $20,000 of investment income, that'll assist. For the vast majority of us, we don't have that out because we have it in super, so we don't have to pay the tax. So of little benefit. Inflation directly erodes real return on defensive assets, cash and bonds. Talking to you all about how I've got my eye on the bond funds at the moment. We're changing out of one into others that I'm more happy with. That is my big concern as interest rates rise, bond yields fall. So I'm making sure I move everyone out of portfolio that may have more long dated bonds because they're the ones that get impacted, and to really hit in the short term. But I speak to you that in our meeting. Part pension, still earning taxable income, then you'll get some benefit. If drawing from super, it's still tax-free, so there's no income benefit. Inflation erodes the real value of pension supplements over time. It's the inflation, people. I'm complaining about all the time. It's the inflation that's killing us, and it's eroding your purchasing power. For retirees who are still working, you'll still get tax cuts applied to your employment income. You'll get the 1,000 instant deduction that applies, but real wages is at negative 1.3%. Wage growth to March was 3.3, inflation was 4.6. That's your purchasing power being eroded. Superannuation and CGT. We'll be talking about a lot of this in our meetings coming through. So this is a quick rundown. Okay. Super fund CGT discount. If we're in accumulation phase, it remains unchanged. So we don't have to do anything. We have a tax-free pension phase, still remains the exact same. If we have balances over $3 million, there's going to be extra tax to be paid. I'll make sure that doesn't happen. We'll make changes if we need to make that to get out of it, we will, but I won't allow that extra money to be charged for you. Minimum pension drawdown rates remain unchanged, so that's good. 3 million super tax applies from 1 July, so it's coming in this financial year. For those who has a total super balance exceeding 3 million, yes, which is not a lot. We have a couple of people who get in there. Now it's if you're husband and wife, it's 3 million and 3 million. If you're in a self-managed super fund, it's 3 million in the husband's member balance, 3 million in the wife's member balance, as an example, right? So if we have 2.5 million each and the self-managed super fund's 5 million, this does not apply to you. It applies at the member balance level, which is what you had within your super fund. 15% tax on the proportion of earnings relating to balances over 3 million. Additional 10% tax applies if balance exceeds 10 million. The amount of super funds that would have $10 million in it is small, very small. The big thing about this tax, which I find completely abhorrent, is the tax applies on unrealized gains. If we have family farms in our self-managed super fund and it's been there for a while, and all of a sudden, we have mum and dad in there and the farm's worth $10 million because property prices have increased. You now have a member balance over $5 million each, so you're going to get hit. We're going to get smacked on the unrealized gains, which I think we're one of the only countries in the world that do it. Other countries have looked at it and said no. So well done on the electorate. We vote. We get what we voted for, people. This 3 million is only going to apply to very, very few of you. I've already spoken to the people who will it apply to, and I've got my eye on it. I'm not overtly concerned at the moment, but it'll be something we'll keep our eye on over the next couple of years. Property and CGT. Okay. Some of us have investment properties outside of super. So this is going to be applicable for us. Let's have a look at the property decisions in retirement. Existing investment properties are fully grandfathered, no change to negative gearing, as long if you have negative gearing. Selling triggers CGT, and I'll get onto that in effect. Because grandfathering is valuable, you've got less reason to sell. However, I don't actually have any clients who have negative geared properties in their retirement. We own properties that are positively geared and we hold, but none are negative, so it's not really going to affect us. We talk about downsizing when you go to retire. Sorry, when you go to sell your property. We've been using that through our client community as we go, and I'll take care of that. Home sales and age pension. I've been talking to a couple of people about this. If you sell your house, you have up to a 24-month limit to be able to say, I'm using those funds to buy my next property. So what they'll do is they will still count you as a homeowner, but the $800,000 of cash you now have sitting in an account waiting to be dispersed to buy a new property won't be counted towards the assets test. It'll get counted on the income when you get by deemed income, but it won't be counted as assets test. I have been doing this lately for a couple of clients just recently, so I'm all over it if we need to do things. Pension supplement overseas from the 20th of September 26. Pension supplement ceases immediately on permanent departure. It was previously delayed. 12 weeks grace for temporary absence. So this is supplements. It's not your age pension. You'll get an energy supplement and you'll get another supplement. There's two of them. It's those that you miss out on. You still get, if you go overseas, you'd still get your full aged pension. You just miss out on the supplements. If we're thinking of doing that, and I do actually have one client who's looking in November to move overseas and to live just because it's more cost effective. We'll just have to factor that into the cash flow. But that's all right, I've got you. CGT reform. Doing my best not to go on an angry man rant. New minimum 30% CGT rate may be higher than the marginal rate of many retirees. So for those of us who have an investment property, and you have a full allocated pension and you decide to sell the investment property, you're going to you're going to pay tax where we would have been able to mitigate a good portion of it. There's timing of property sales. For those of us who are gearing up for retirement, I'll be all over it, so I'll talk to you as we go through. CGT is super. It's not in super, doesn't apply to any gains within superannuation. So if we want to go and buy an investment property within superannuation, the rules itself don't apply under a CGT aspect. Age pension recipients are exempt from the minimum 30% tax rate on capital gains. So if we get $1, we could be exempt from it. Something we talk about in our meetings, right? We'll cover it all off. Private health rebate cut. Again, you're not their demographic, so they have nothing to give. Private health rebates cut from 1 April. The high private insurance rebate for Australians aged 65 is removed. It's aligned to the standard 24% rebate. That's going to cost you more money. How many times have we had meetings where I've just said the thieving bastards? They're about to get more thieving. What's this mean for your retirement plan? Pension recipients and low balance. PBS is great. Energy costs are up. We talk about this in our meetings. Inflation is ridiculously running high. Your purchasing power is being eroded. That's why we have to have growth assets in our portfolios. That's why I say we have to have them. How many we have, that's our conversation. Aged care access, that's going to be important. And I've got to get my head across more aged care because we're all heading into that environment. I know a couple of us are talking about getting some support at home. We'll keep working our way through. Investment properties, we've got to have a look at the best way for us to get around it if it's going to apply. From my memory, I only have one or two of us who have an investment property when we want to retire, and you don't have the age pension. So that could be an inheritance thing, people, or let the next generation worry about it. Self-funded retirees, don't get income tax cuts. I'm across the 3 million super tax, not going to impact a lot of us. CGT changes do not apply inside super, so in accumulation still 15%, 10%, in pension still 0%. The private health insurance rebate that gets moved for over 65s is a kick in the proverbials. That's what that is. I'm looking at my parents, 80, 88, and 82, and dad's, had a couple of falls, which I've shared with the community group. They can't afford to get rid of it because they need it. So, we now have to find, for younger people thinking $226 a year is not that much money, start living off your wealth, and then we'll have that conversation. Aged care transition, people, we're going to be needing to have these conversations over the upcoming years. I will make sure we're across everything that we need to do. Right, that's it. Okay. We will cover all of this off in our meetings, right? This is just an update that I wanted to do specifically for retirees. Again, 65, 70% of the client base is retirees. So I thought it was important just to do a single video for you so that we're across where we need to be. I'll cover it off in our meetings. As always, ring Nancy, book a meeting if we need to have a chat. Okay, I'll talk to you both soon. Thanks a lot.